This tutorial is going to be on converting TIFFs to OCR, using OCR into text using an online OCR recognition software. In this case, we are using free online OCR, which has address of NewOCR.com. We've also produced a how-to brief manual on how to follow these steps to actually produce these documents, and so that link will be in that document. The process is usually we scan things and then convert or do OCR in the scanning process. But this process allows us to actually use TIFFs that have already been created, and in this case for this project, La Patria Perdida, TIFFs that were produced as high resolution, so that may eliminate some of the corrections that we have to make because they are older documents and non-English older documents, in this case Spanish. So and this is a really easy process, which is great and free and available. As you'll notice, if you scroll down on the site, you get a little introduction on what this actually does and how to use it. But if you look beneath, it gives you a little more information about the site. You can see all the recognition languages that are available. And it also gives you a little how it works, and that it does actually work from a number of file formats and outputs to 3 different file formats. In this case, a plain text document, a Word document, or an Acrobat PDF. It's a pretty handy tool, which is a nice thing. We are going to work from files that have already been scanned as TIFFs. And we've created a directory on the Q drive called LPP_TIFF that you'll be working from. I'll show you that as we move into the next part of this. And you'll see it actually immediately when we start. So we're going to choose a file, and automatically it's going to open. It's going to look for a file on our local file managed directory. And in this case, it is under the LPP_TIFF file, which will be available in your Q drive. We're going to select image 7. The next to the choose file button is the file that we selected. Now I know what this file is because we have already started a spreadsheet for this project called LPP OCR project that is about documenting the conversion of these TIFFs to OCR them into Word docs. So I know that file 007 is page 6 of the book in chapter 1. And yes, I've actually done a number of these already, so I'm really working from samples that we've already created, so that you have an idea of what is actually happening with these documents and how to then record them. The yes or no of OCR, this process has been done for this particular image, and the new word name, which in this case is the author's first and last name, and the original image name. I'm going to actually fix this right now because this is wrong. It should be 3 zeros and not 4. And so, whoops, 3 zeros and not 4. Let's try that again. 3 zeros and not 4. Okay. You'll see that the author's name is listed, the original image file name, and then because we are separating the 2 pages on the image and creating 2 new images, there is the 1 and the 2 reflect the fact that these are sub-images of this image, or 2 separate records of this image, right? So, so in this case, you've got TORRT, which is the author's name, the first 5 letters of the author's name, the image number 0007, as you can see is reflected over here, and the 0001 of the document, which if you were reading it left to right would be page 6. The 002 document would be page 7. I've also included who's doing the OCR. This will help us with questions we may have if not the same person is working on the same documents. And in this case, I've included my initials. Over at the very far end, you'll see a bit of a legend. Legend who, OCR in my case, my initials, and then who I am. So as you're doing this, you're going to want to not forget to put who you are as you're documenting this. The reason we're including the chapter numbers is because eventually the documents each Word document is going to be merged into a chapter document that whoever is actually doing the quality control can read the document against the original pages, original scan pages. So we've selected our file, and now we're going to preview our file by clicking preview. And now you'll see that the preview button has converted to an OCR button, but we're not going to do that yet. First, we want to go up to the top and select the recognition language that we'd like to use. There's two choices here for Spanish. There's Spanish Castilian and Spanish Castilian Old. I've chosen Spanish Castilian Old because this is an older document. We don't have to rotate the image. As you can see, it's upright, it's reading left to right. And as far as the page layout analysis, we're not going to scan it into split multi-column text or any of that. We're going to accomplish that by doing a manual adjustment to the image that we are seeing. So as you can see, I scroll down a little bit to bring the full image that we are going to OCR into my screen. And you'll notice that it's a perforated line or selection highlight that has corner boxes at the top and in each of the corners and on the left and on the right. And as I mouse over them, that the corner my cursor changes to a crop tool. So in this program, you have two tools, the crop tool and the move tool. So as I mouse over, I'm given the crop tool, which will allow me to select just the one page that I want to scan. Now, if you're not hovering over any of the bounding boxes, the crop tool turns into a move tool. So as you can see, I can now take the crop that I made for page 6 and move it over to page 7 when I'm ready to OCR that page. So I'm going to move this back over to 6. I'm going to do this one more time. By default, when the preview begins, you have a full screen highlighted. You want to close using your crop tool down to the image that you want to scan. Okay, so now we have this image set. We have the recognition language we want to use. We're going to press the OCR button. You'll see that the screen goes gray, asks us to wait. Usually takes about 15 to 30 seconds. Okay, so once the OCR is done, I'm going to scroll down to where the text is listed. We'll want to check the first couple of lines to see that it is indeed pulling up this text. And you'll see that all of your text is available now and converted. And so now we're going to download. Now you can use the other tools. I didn't have much luck with using the other tools, but since we're creating a Word document, we're going to use the download selection. So we're going to select Microsoft Word Doc. And as you'll notice at the bottom of my screen, it downloaded into the default location for my downloads, which is downloads, and created a new document file. Now, the document file that it creates reflects that it's coming from the site and reflects that it is it's got some name and date information in it, and I'm guessing it also generates the number of documents that the site processed that day. At least that's kind of what that looks like. So there it is, and as you can see, it's got a different file name. So what we're going to do is open it in Word. So it's opened it in Word, and because it's in protected view, because that's what Word does, we're going to enable editing, and then we're going to save it with its, no, I do not want to translate this. New name is going to be So we're going to give it its new name, TORRT007 for the image number, 001 for the page number, and we're going to save it as a Word doc. And we're going to save it in the LPP doc directory. Now that we've scanned page 6, we're going to scan page 7. Okay. So we'll use the move tool to move the highlighted area that we want to do the OCR on over to the page 7 side. And then we're going to click OCR. The screen will go dark again. And do the conversion. When the conversion is done, the screen will lighten again, and we can go down to the bottom to see how well the conversion went. Now, if we don't feel as though it started at the beginning, although it looks like it did start at the beginning, and in this case, you'll notice that the header is missing, run the OCR again. Yeah, and it'll be very quick. I don't see that it actually did anything. So, but sometimes, you know, because it's doing a mathematical process, it is an online service. You just want to make sure the first couple of lines actually do reflect the first couple of lines for the document that we're looking at, the actual image. So again, I'm going to click Microsoft Word to save. You'll see that it generates a file at the very bottom of my screen. And then I'm going to go through and do open the document, do the file name change, and then make sure that file name change is recorded here. So in that case, because this is page 7, that would be TORRT007_002.doc. Okay, so, and when I am done with having scanned both documents and converting them, I'm going to upload a new file, which will take me back to the original screen that I started with. I'm going to click on Choose File. We're going to open File 8. Click Preview. And you'll see that the Spanish Castilian Old is already listed. We don't have to rotate the image again because it is right reading and reading from the left to the right. We're going to take our crop tool and pull in the holding boxes so that we're scanning the one page. While it converts, okay. I'm going to look to see that the first couple of lines are actually listed, and they are. Go all the way down to the bottom, and then click Download to download it to a Word doc. And watch as it creates a Word doc at the bottom of my screen. I don't know how this happens in Macs, but on PCs and in Chrome, you'll see that you're actually getting a download. And then I will go into the file and open it, change the name of the file, save it with the new name, and then move on to the next file. So the nice thing about this is when you come back to this screen, don't close this screen, when you come back to this screen, you'll see where you left off. So we did 8, so now we're going to do 9. Click OCR. Scroll down to see what happened. For some reason, it doesn't recognize the top of the odd screen, or the top of the odd pages, but it does of the even pages. Okay, so we're going to download this one. And watch as it makes a new Word doc. And we're going to make the change to the file and then upload a new file. As you can see, it's a pretty easy system. Just remember that as you're working, you want to keep free online OCR open, and your LPP OCR project spreadsheet so that you are documenting each TIFF as you are converting it. This will help you be able to keep track of what documents you've scanned, what documents you haven't, and that the pagination is correct for each of the images.